SEC power rankings. Give me that bottom 6 pretty quick, as I want people to take 1 second. If you're just joining, hit like and subscribe. Probably a lot of new viewers. We're live at 10 a.m. each and every weekday. So SEC power rankings, get us rolling, Caleb.
Number 16 is Mississippi State. They put up a fight against Texas, but they're still the worst team in the SEC.
You suck, you jackass.
Thank you.
Number 15, is Pastor Hugh Freeze's team, Auburn. And, Dave, I feel
sorry.
I feel so sorry for such a good Christian man who is just such an honorable human being running such an honorable program at Auburn and really cares about his players. Auburn cost me money because that game hit the over on Saturday because Auburn managed to throw another pick 6.
Caleb's sarcasm brought to you by the UPS store in Hardin Valley. There to help you and individuals and small businesses by offering a wide variety of products and services locally owned and operating, conveniently located at 10629 Hardin Valley Road. Link right below. All right, who's next, Caleb?
Number 14 is Florida. Congratulations, Florida. You're not the worst team in the SEC.
There you go.
Number 13 is Vanderbilt. Clark Lee's team should be 5-0. They have 2 very close losses, but so you could say they should be higher, but Dave, that's Vandy going to Vandy, right? So they're going to lose close games. That's what they do.
Okay, so but you think at the end of the season, you'll think Vanderbilt is better than 4 teams in the SEC?
Well, 3, Florida, Auburn, and Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State will surpass them. I think Auburn is quitting on their team. I think they're quitting on Hugh Freeze.
That's hot.
Okay, I wouldn't argue that. All right,
that sounds like some girl Hugh Freeze was into.
Yeah. I wouldn't disagree with any of that. Hookers Hangout Asia Cafe. Treat yourself to authentic Asian cuisine, handcrafted from guarded family recipes. 5 locations to choose from. AsiaCafe.org. Right down below. And they also have the 6-to-1 Brazilian Cocoa Energy Booster Premix that you can see over my shoulder. Instant white coffee, the golden label coffee bag with the limbs pictures on it. They started their dynasty back in 1909, and now they're in Knoxville, Tennessee, and Philip Bloom does a fantastic job. And I'm telling you, that coffee is awesome. Caleb, who's next?
All right, so next after Vanderbilt is Arkansas at number 12. Arkansas's kind of like Vanderbilt. It's like hogs going to hogs. We just talked about that with John Neighbors, and they should be 5-0, but because of Sam Pittman's in-game mistakes, they're 3-2.
You suck, you jackass.
All right, who's next?
Number 11 is Texas A&M. Mike Elko doesn't have a quarterback. They keep winning ugly, but guess what, Dave? They're 4-1, and I mean, hey, say what you wanted to say, but they're 4-1 and they could be dangerous.
All righty. I can't argue with that. Who's next?
Number 10 is Oklahoma. They are staying afloat. Brent Venables' team is not down and out. They are 4-1 after beating Auburn thanks to another pick 6. Again, now when Auburn plays, you might as well take the over because Auburn's going to set up a lot of points for the other team by throwing a lot of pick 6s because that's what they do. And
That's crazy.
Oklahoma's better than that now if they found a quarterback.
Well, okay, but debate me on this, okay? Because you say that's crazy, but do you really have them ahead of Ole Miss, who I have at number 9?
Well, we'll see you have at 8 as well. Keep going. No, I would not have them in front of Ole Miss, but I think there is a debate to be had. Okay, who's next?
All right, so Ole Miss is number 9 with Lane Kiffin and the Rebels. Number 8, you got to have Kentucky at number 8. I mean, they just beat Ole Miss in Oxford, so...
Okay, I think that Oklahoma's a better football team than Kentucky, but not by a lot.
Okay, fair enough. But I think right now, with how the teams are playing right now, Kentucky would have beaten Oklahoma the 2 played on Saturday the way they played. And
so played on Saturday, neutral field, neither has a home field advantage. So really, what does that matter? So if you had to pick them on Saturday, though, who wins?
I'm still saying maybe Kentucky. That defensive front for Kentucky would wreck Oklahoma's offensive line.
Okay, I would take Oklahoma because of quarterback play. Go right ahead.
All right, number 7, because circular logic requires me to, but look, you're going to hate this, but we got to have Shane Beamer in South Carolina at number 7 right now. I mean, that dominating win over Kentucky looks pretty darn good right now.
Okay, go ahead. Next.
Dave, how dare you disrespect Shane Beamer like that? He is a classy, upstanding gentleman.
Yeah.
So
great. I mean, he may be a great person. But I just don't think that football team's great. I think there's I think the SEC's top heavy, but we'll get into that probably.
I kind of
tomorrow.
agree. Number 6 is Missouri. Eli Drinkwitz and Mizzou, they are undefeated. You could say they should. You could say they should be number 5, but I mean they're a very, very, very
Pedestrian.
underwhelming pedestrian undefeated team.
Yes. Okay. Who's next?
Number 5 is LSU. Don't look now, but LSU is starting to win big and getting better each week. And I know y'all think I'm some LSU homer, but like they are looking pretty good right now. I know it's just South Alabama, but
I don't have a problem with that. I don't think they're knocking on the door for the upper tier. And I think we know who the upper tier is now. What number are we at?
We're getting to the upper tier now because now this is all tier 1 and the top 4 are clear cut tier 1. But would you agree LSU's ahead of Missouri, even though LSU has a loss?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So number 4. Now, guys, this is based on
this. I'm not sure. Again, I think Oklahoma and LSU would be higher, closer than you think, but that's okay. Let's get to the upper tier, which includes the Vols.
Yes. You guys are going to hate me on this, and I'm sorry, but as of right now, I have to have Tennessee at 4 in my SEC power rankings.
Okay. Why?
Well, they didn't play. And if the best debate I would give you is Texas, because if you put Tennessee against Texas on a neutral field, Texas looked horrible over the weekend against Mississippi State. I could see you maybe favoring Tennessee over Texas, but Tennessee didn't play. They have issues on the offensive line. Still questioning that win over Oklahoma. Still questioning that win over NC State. As of right now, I think it's very close. I think all these teams are interchangeable, but I got them 4th among the 4 teams in that top tier as of right now.
Well, it may surprise you. I have absolutely no argument with that. I think that based off, I'm not going to say the eye test. Well, yeah, based off the eye test and with the injuries on the offensive line, I think that I would agree with you that Tennessee would have to be 4. And I thought I saw 2 very good teams in Georgia and Alabama go at it. Texas still a little bit unknown, but they've done more. So no, I have no argument with Tennessee being 4. I actually think they should be. So go ahead.
Yeah, perfect. Look at us being one and the same, hating on Tennessee.
Hating. I mean, they've got a chance to improve that.
Yeah. Number 3.
I definitely don't want to manufacture an argument.
Number 3 is Texas. They dropped because they should. It's not Arch Manning's fault, by the way. They just made other players on Texas made a series of mistakes against Mississippi State over the weekend that made that game closer than it should have been. But I mean, they still dominated. But I got Texas at number 3.
Yeah, but a series of mistakes is a sign of coaching, and Steve Sarkisian is known as an offensive coordinator and then a head coach with a problem in LA. So I'm not saying at all the problems come back, but I'm just saying that being a head coach is about ball security. I mean, that's one of the things that you've and not making mistakes and not making stupid plays. That falls on the head coach. So, he's not any more proven than Josh Heupel is. As a matter of fact, I would argue less proven. Heupel had the undefeated season.
I kind of agree. And y'all, I know people, everybody's going to come and be like, Georgia lost a game, but they're number 2 in our SEC power rankings. I'm sorry, guys. If Georgia played Tennessee right now on a neutral field, Vegas would favor Georgia. Most of you guys would bet on Georgia. Okay.
I don't think they bet on Georgia. I can tell you what that point spread would be based off our analytics. It'd be 3.5. So, would you take Tennessee this weekend if they were playing Georgia minus 3.5?
No, I wouldn't at all. I would take Georgia to cover that 3.5 point spread on a neutral field. And I'm sorry, guys, that Georgia was down 28-0 and almost came back and won that game. They're number 2 in my SEC power rankings. And Steven, who was just on with us for Locked On Ole Miss, was right. They're the most talented team in the country. I don't care that they lost. They're still the most talented team. Again, power rankings are how you're playing. They're not record-based. This isn't resume-based. Resume, record-based, yes, Tennessee's ahead of Georgia. Actual power rankings, no. Georgia's ahead of Tennessee right now. I'm not going to get fooled by one game.
Okay. So Alabama's number 1. I don't think anybody can really argue with that at this point. Can you?
No. Alabama's clearly number 1. I think that, Again, it was everything in me not to put Georgia ahead of Alabama, even after losing to Alabama. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not that ridiculous. I'll keep Alabama at number 1. But yeah, I think it's a close number 1. If Georgia and Alabama played on Saturday on a neutral field, Dave, who would you bet on?
I would take Alabama.
You would take Alabama over Georgia on a neutral field on Saturday?
Yeah, because I think there's a difference maker at quarterback, and I think there's a big problem at quarterback for Georgia. I mean, I think there's a difference maker to Alabama, and I think there's a problem in Georgia.
So how do
you ask me any game, I would go into that.
How do you ration Georgia's comeback in the second half then, and the way they came back?
Well, I think they threw some things at Milroe, a young quarterback that he hadn't seen before, and he could have easily crumbled. And then I'm all on board with your argument, but they still made plays to end up winning the game. And I think Carson Beck is just really, really bad. And I mean, again, if guys, if you want to go back and look, if you don't believe me, the one deep touchdown pass that he threw was woefully underthrown from a lack of arm strength. They're running those little go and stop routes because Carson Beck doesn't have the arm. So that's, I mean, you obviously believe they're okay with Beck. So that's where we differ. I think they've got a big time major league problem at quarterback.
Newsflash, Dave thinks Georgia should be relegated to Group of 5. We're going to tell everybody.